Hello everyone, this is Evan Prescott here. I want to talk with you today about something that happened just yesterday morning, December 10th, 2025. Something that's been weighing heavily on my mind ever since the news broke. The United States military, with the Coast Guard leading the charge, backed by Navy support, seized a massive oil tanker in international waters off the coast of Venezuela. President Trump announced it himself at a White House event, calling it the largest tanker the US has ever seized. And when a reporter pressed him on what happens to all that oil on board, his response was casual, almost offhand. "We keep it, I guess." Those words, "we keep it, I guess," capture a moment that demands deeper reflection, because decisions like this aren't just about one ship or one load of crude. They ripple across the globe, testing America's commitment to law, institutions, and principled leadership. Venezuela's long crisis. Venezuela sits atop some of the world's largest proven oil reserves, a resource that once fueled prosperity and stability back in more hopeful times. It functioned as a democracy with a thriving middle class, and the US even imported its oil without issue. But decades of mismanagement, rampant corruption and authoritarian rule, first under Hugo Chavez and now Nicolas Maduro, have turned it into a humanitarian catastrophe. Maduro, a dictator who rigs elections, jails opponents and clings to power, has driven his people to desperation. Shortages of food and medicine, hyperinflation that wiped out savings, and over 7 million refugees fleeing across borders. The Venezuelan people deserve far better. They deserve democracy, opportunity, and relief from this nightmare. The escalating US campaign. Since September 2025, the Trump administration has ramped up an aggressive military pressure campaign in the Caribbean. More than 15,000 US troops deployed. The aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford positioned for potential strikes, and over 20 operations targeting suspected drug vessels, resulting in more than 80 deaths. These actions come with scant public evidence of drug cargoes or legal justification under international law, raising alarms from experts about proportionality and due process. This marks a sharp departure from past US approaches in Latin America, where multilateral efforts through the Organization of American States, OAS, and allies built coalitions and respected sovereignty. America's history in the region, marked by interventions and coups, looms large, and unilateral moves risk reviving old suspicions while alienating partners. Details of the tanker seizure. Early on December 10th, the tanker, named Skipper but previously Odessa, was intercepted carrying heavy crude from Venezuela's state oil company, PDVSA. Shipping records show it departed Venezuela's main port around December 4th to 5th, bound for Asia, where China now absorbs about 80% of Venezuela's exports amid US sanctions. Trump revealed the seizure at an event promoting a new luxury visa program, not a security briefing, underscoring the off-the-cuff nature. A sealed federal warrant from 2 weeks prior tied to the ship's alleged past role in Iranian oil smuggling, funding Iran's Revolutionary Guards, provided the legal hook, not direct Venezuelan ties. No crew resistance occurred, no casualties reported, but officials hinted at more seizures ahead. Critically, when pressed on authority to retain the oil, the White House stonewalled, leaving questions about what the warrant covers: ship, cargo, or both, legal and institutional concerns. What gives the US authority to seize and keep foreign oil in international waters? Maritime law allows actions against piracy or UN violations, but basing it on a sealed warrant for past Iranian links while targeting Venezuelan pressure stretches boundaries. The Constitution assigns Congress war powers and commerce regulation, yet no authorization, debate, or hearings preceded 15,000 troops, carrier deployments, lethal strikes, or this seizure. Sealed warrants limit scrutiny, evoking accountability gaps. A Reuters poll shows even 1/3 of Republicans opposing the boat strikes, yet escalation continues. This pattern, casual announcements, opacity, bypassed institutions, erodes the rule of law that distinguishes democracies from autocracies. Global and domestic risks. The stakes extend far beyond Venezuela. China and Russia, with deep stakes there, may double down on Maduro support. Oil prices spiked post-seizure. Further disruptions could fuel inflation, hitting US consumers. A full Venezuelan export halt risks total collapse, starvation, disease, service breakdowns, exacerbating a refugee crisis already straining Colombia, Brazil and beyond, with flows inevitably reaching US borders. Internationally, this sets precedents. If America seizes tankers on vague authority, China could justify South China Sea grabs, Iran the Strait of Hormuz, allies distance themselves, authoritarians take note, and the rules-based order America built post-Doyle phrase mimics political strategy and pitfalls. The aim appears clear: topple Maduro, claim oil access, align with figures like Nobel-winning dissident Maria Corina Machado. Yet results falter. Venezuela's November exports rose 3% to 920,000 barrels daily despite pressure. No robust post-Maduro plan exists. Reports suggest Trump hesitates on direct strikes, fearing failure. Unintended fallout looms, empowered adversaries, regional instability, damaged US credibility, short-term tough guy optics yield long-term costs to institutions and security. A better path forward. America can pressure Maduro effectively through OAS-led sanctions with Europe and Latin allies, humanitarian aid for refugees, opposition support, congressional buy-in for any force, and transparent legal grounding. This upholds values, shares burdens, and sustains legitimacy. Power without it crumbles. The Venezuelan people merit freedom, not chaos. America shines brightest leading by law and example, preserving institutions for crises ahead. These choices echo through history. Let's ensure they fortify democracy for generations to come. Thank you.